Hello everyone and welcome to a new vlog. I hope you are all doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my experiences throughout my first trimester of pregnancy. So this is going to be everything that I experienced from right before I found out I was pregnant up until the end of week 13 of pregnancy. And it's crazy because I'm several weeks into the second trimester now, and I don't know, it's just crazy how fast time has gone by. I feel like I just found out I was pregnant, but yeah, anyways, before I get started, I just want to say, and I know other people say this in their videos, but I will of course be talking about TMI topics. So if you are a family member or a close friend, or you're just not interested in hearing that kind of thing, feel free to skip this video. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in with weeks 1 through 3. And I took a lot of notes on my Flow app. I used the Flow app and I really liked it. I was able to track everything on there, which was really nice. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my phone just because everything is there. I know a lot of people make videos talking about how they knew they were pregnant. I binge watched those when Andrew and I were trying, but I also found them not to be very helpful, especially with my just personal experience of what it did feel like for me when I became pregnant. The symptoms that I had in weeks 1 through 3 did not feel like any different from me having a normal period. So actually the month prior to me getting pregnant, I had several symptoms which I thought indicated pregnancy, and I was not pregnant. So I think it's very hard to know you're pregnant before you take a positive pregnancy test. And yeah, so that's all I'm going to say about that, but I will talk about some of the things I was experiencing. But please know that these are things that anyone could experience just from having a normal menstrual cycle. So the main symptoms that I had written down before I took my pregnancy test were bloating. I was so bloated, but that happens to me just normally anyways if I eat too much, or I don't know, just throughout my cycle. So it's not like that was that weird, but of course when you're trying to get pregnant, you see all these little symptoms and think they're a sign of something. So I did have bloating, and also I had sore boobs, but that's also a normal thing that a lot of women experience when they're about to get their period. The thing that was weird though, that I thought, you know, might be a sign that something was different, is that I was getting these like weird twinges of pain on my lower side. So like kind of where you would get a period cramp. And it was like this weird like shooting pain that would come out of nowhere. And I remember distinctly feeling that it wouldn't last very long, and it would only happen a couple times a day, and it happened maybe a few days in a row. And I was like, that's really weird because I've never experienced that before. But at the same time, you could get twinges of pain for no reason at all. But that is something that was different for me, and that I had read about could be a sign of pregnancy. So when I started feeling that, I got really excited, but I also didn't want to get my hopes up because the month prior I had really gotten my hopes up and it was for nothing. So I also had a lot of cramping, which I have had previously. Like before I get my period, I will start to get cramps, but this time it seemed to be a little bit more intense than usual. I think I was taking like Tylenol because it was just really uncomfortable. And I also had like a light brown discharge, which can be normal for some people. So I thought that maybe that was just the start of my period, and kind of thought, you know, I'm definitely not pregnant. I didn't think I was going to end up being pregnant. And the last thing that I noticed was that I had a heightened sense of smell, which is weird because I knew that was a sign of pregnancy. So I didn't know if it was all in my head and I was imagining that I had a heightened sense of smell, but I think I really did. I remember I have a little candle on my nightstand, and I remember waking up in the morning and that's all I could smell, and it was kind of grossing me out, and I had to move the candle off of my nightstand so I could, you know, relax in bed for a little while longer. And I remember thinking that was kind of weird, but at the same time I knew that that was a symptom of pregnancy, and so I thought it might, you know, just be in my head that I was experiencing that. And then at 3 weeks and 3 days I took my first pregnancy test, and I got a faint line. And I know that's really early to take a pregnancy test, but I was just so excited and hopeful, and I was having all those symptoms. So I took it, and yeah, I had a faint line. So And it's really funny because I took so many pregnancy tests after that because I just wanted to make sure, and I don't know, I was having fun taking them, and I think Andrew thought I was crazy because I spent so much money on pregnancy tests. When I say I took a lot of pregnancy tests, I mean I took a lot. I have I have so many here. These aren't even all the ones that I've taken because I had a lot of the little I don't know what they're called, like the strip ones that you would throw away because they're just like paper strips. But let's see here. These are all the pregnancy tests that I took, and some. So it's kind of embarrassing, but I was really excited. And then I just wanted to make sure that the line was darkening because when I first took it, the line was so faint, and I wanted to make sure that I actually was pregnant and that the line was darkening as my hormone levels rose. Okay, so moving on to weeks 4 through 6. So these weeks were really, really stressful for me. Just a few days after I had taken the pregnancy test. So I said I took the test at 3 weeks, 3 days. I think like a week and a half after that, I woke up and I had like a spotting. Like it was kind of like a small gush of watery blood just fell into my underwear when I had woken up, and I started panicking. I had called my doctor and told her I was pregnant pretty shortly after I took my pregnancy test, but so they knew I was pregnant, but I hadn't gone in and gotten any ultrasounds or anything like that done to confirm. So I had called my doctor, told them what happened, and they ended up scheduling me an ultrasound. I think it was like at 4.5 weeks. And yeah, I was really stressed out. So I go in for my ultrasound, everything was fine. They don't know what the bleeding was for. There was nothing looked wrong or anything, but I was super stressed out about that. But that was like a one-time thing and it went away. And then a few weeks later, I started having like dark brown discharge, like really dark brown discharge. And this was something that lasted for like over a week. I think it was like a week and a half. Yeah, it was about a week and a half of this dark brown discharge. It wasn't like a lot, but it was enough that I would want to wear a panty liner just so that my underwear wouldn't get gross. And of course I called my doctor again. They did another ultrasound and everything was fine with that as well. So I don't know what was going on, but that really scared me, both of those instances. I didn't know if something was gonna go wrong further down the line, but everything was fine when they did those 2 ultrasounds, so I was relieved. And eventually, I think, like I said, after a week and a half, the spotting stopped and everything has been normal the rest of the first trimester. So for the remainder of my symptoms from weeks 4 through 6, I had super sore boobs. It was really like, I've never felt anything like this. It was just like the sides of them. They were so sore that it hurt to sleep. So like I would be sleeping on my stomach with my head on my pillow and they would just be pressed against the bed and it hurt so bad. I had to sleep. I think I started sleeping on my back as much as possible because it was so much more comfortable. I then started having a really strong sense of smell. So this was like, it got crazy. So I really do think that when I first found out I was pregnant, that strong sense of smell was really happening, because it got so bad. Like I could not have any candles. My sister bought me these really nice candles for my birthday last year that I had out, and I had to move them into a closet because I couldn't stand being in the same room with them because they just smelled so strongly to me. It was wild because smells that I liked, if they were too strong, I just could not be in the same room as them. It was so bad. And around this time, I also started having nausea. So I did not have anything like bad like some women experience, but I had this really weird, slight nauseous feeling that would last from the morning to night, and it would get a lot worse before I'd go to bed. But I have a feeling that could be because I was taking my prenatals then before bed, and they just don't make me feel the best because of the taste of them and everything. But yeah, I had this slight nausea that would last all day, and I developed this like aversion to like every food. I think I was living off of saltine crackers, Greek yogurt, and just plain pasta. And I remember I was really worried because when you're pregnant, like you think, oh, you need to eat the most nutritious, healthy foods, and I literally could not eat anything. I don't think I ate any vegetables. I was barely eating any fruit, and yeah, I was living off of like crackers and water and juice, I think. And I developed, which I still have to this day, a super strong aversion to coffee. The smell of coffee, the taste of coffee, everything. And if you know me and Andrew, we love coffee so much. We really enjoyed going to cafes and getting coffees or just making our own coffee at home, but I have not had any coffee since, I don't know, week 4.5, 5, just because I cannot stand it. And I'm really, I mean, it's a good thing because I shouldn't be drinking caffeine, but like while I was trying to get pregnant, I had switched over to decaf coffee anyways. And so the caffeine wasn't the issue for me. I could not stand the smell of it. So I really hope that this doesn't last forever, but I still have the aversion. It's not as bad, like I can deal with the smell of it, but it does not appeal to me at all. So it's really interesting. I also wrote down mild mood swings and breakouts, and I mean they were very mild. I don't remember, like I wasn't having like any terrible mood swings, but I think I would get kind of emotional, like I'd get upset really easily, and I remember I was breaking out a lot along my jawline and around my lips, but I mean it wasn't anything too bad. It was just like little tiny pimples, and they went away after a few weeks. It wasn't anything horrible. So around week 6, I had a doctor's appointment. I think that was my first official doctor's appointment, where I spoke to the doctor about my pregnancy, and they gave me all the pamphlets and everything. And Andrew had mentioned to the doctor that I was having this nausea, and they actually prescribed me a medication. It's like a vitamin. I believe it's a mix of B6 and some type of antihistamine. I'm not 100% sure, but I started taking that and it was amazing. I felt so much better. The nausea just completely went away and I was so much better. So I'm really thankful for that. And I also wrote down that I started to get really bad fatigue. So I remember that like in the middle of the day, because I work from home, I work from 8 to 4:30 every day, just from home, at a normal job. And on my lunch breaks, I would take naps. I could not handle it. I think I would be fine when I'd wake up in the morning, and I'd last till like 10:30, 11, and then I'd start to get really tired. And then when I took my lunch breaks at 12, I would go lay down on the couch and take a 30-minute nap, and that helped a lot. I know like 30-minute nap doesn't sound very long, like it would help much, but it helped me a lot to get through the day. And then I remember I would just be relaxing at night. I was so tired, and it felt like this kind of like exhaustion, like when you have like a flu or something where your whole body is just so tired. You know, I didn't feel sickly or anything. I was just like exhausted to my core. It was so weird. Okay, so week 7 through 13. These weeks were a lot better overall in that my nausea had gone away because I was on the medication, and my fatigue started to get a little bit better. But I also started having this really weird issue where it was always at lunchtime. I would eat my lunch and then I'd get super bad stomach aches. And like, I mean really bad, where I thought I was gonna die. It was so bad, these horrible like grumbly stomach aches, and it was just so bad. And I was so terrified of getting them because you can't take like Pepto or anything when you're pregnant. So, and the medicine from my doctor was for nausea, so it didn't help with like the stomach issues. So this would happen, I would say once or twice a week for several weeks in a row, where I was getting this, and it would last like once I started to get a stomach ache, it would last for 2 hours, like on and off. And it was really bad because I was working, so I was just like taking really long breaks at work, and I would like go in the shower and try to like, you know, have the hot water run on my back, and it was just so bad. Luckily that only lasted for a few weeks. I think towards the end of the first trimester I didn't have any of that, but when I was having it, it was just the worst thing ever. Like I would be on the verge of tears because it was so bad, and there wasn't really anything that I knew of. I mean, I probably could have spoken to my doctor about it and seen if there was a medication I could take, but I didn't, and the only medicine I knew of was Pepto, which I could not take. So there was that. That was really fun. The other thing that I started to have at the end of the first trimester was this weird like tailbone pain. So it was really weird because I've bruised my tailbone before and it doesn't feel like that. It felt like almost like I wanted to, like when you have like, I don't know, an uncomfortable feeling in your back and you want to have someone crack your back for you. It felt like that in my tailbone and then almost to the side. So some type of muscles, some type of part of the bone in my like pelvic floor area. And it was really bad. So it felt the best when I would move more, like go for walks and exercise. But also like this was just like an ongoing thing for weeks where bending down to pick something up off the floor, sitting, going up and down stairs, any movement like that was really, really uncomfortable. And laying in bed, I had a hard time. Like the only comfortable position would be me laying on my back, which I knew that I couldn't continue to do as I progressed throughout my pregnancy. So I was a bit worried. But unfortunately, this has not gone away and it's actually gotten a bit worse into my second trimester, but I will talk about that in a later video. But yeah, I didn't know that this was a thing, but I had Googled it, and not that I can self-diagnose myself, but apparently a lot of people have issues with tailbone and pelvic floor during pregnancy and also after pregnancy. So that's interesting. And it's something that I would like to see a physical therapist for if I can. So I have to speak to my doctor about that. But yeah, that started happening weeks like, I think 8 or 9, and then continued until now. I also wrote down that I was still dealing with a lot of bloating and I still had my aversion to coffee, but all my other aversions went away. Like I could deal with all other food smells, and my diet became more diverse again. I was eating normal. The only thing was I also struggled with constipation, so it wasn't anything like, I mean, to me it was bad because I'm not used to having that, but it was like an on and off thing where some days I wouldn't go to the bathroom and other days I would. So it was just really weird, but I guess that is also a common thing. And my doctor recommended to me to not eat any bananas, which is really weird as I didn't know that they could cause constipation. The final thing that was on my list for weeks 7 through 13 was that my allergies got so bad. So my allergies got bad, my sinuses got bad, and I just had an overall like issue with nasal congestion. And I've always had bad allergies, so it's not that weird to me, but I usually don't have them at this time of the year. So it's crazy. Like every night I put like Vicks under my nose and I'd have my tissues next to my bed, and I had a humidifier and all of that, just because it would get so bad at night that I couldn't breathe through my nose at all. I was breathing through my mouth. And I'd also get really thirsty, so my mouth would dry out so fast, and I'd just be like drinking water throughout the night just because I'd keep waking up with a really dry mouth. So that that is something I didn't expect that I would have. So I know I talked about a lot of negative things that happened throughout this first trimester, but honestly, I don't think I had it very bad at all. Aside from the slight nausea and the little stomach issues that I've been having, all the other symptoms are really like minor, and even the nausea wasn't bad. But yeah, so honestly, it wasn't bad at all. And I feel like I also have to say this, like I am in no way complaining about my symptoms in this video. I just wanted to make this because I found these videos to be so interesting and also really exciting and comforting of what I can, I guess, look forward to, even though like it sounds weird to say like you're looking forward to having pregnancy symptoms, because they're not always the funnest, but it is kind of exciting still because you know that you're growing a baby and that's why you're having these symptoms. It's not because you have, you know, a health issue. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Let me know in the comments below what pregnancy symptoms you experienced in the first trimester, because I'd love to read them. And if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to my channel because that would really help me out a lot. And yeah, I appreciate you guys watching this, and I will see you guys next week with another video. Okay, bye!